So how's everybody doing? It's PR here, and I'm back at you with another video. I've been listening to people discuss ad nauseum on the internet about, my franchise, my team's better than your franchise or team for this and that reason and the third, and people are having for some reason some people are having these weird, perplexing arguments about it. Let's use some common sense right now. Let's use some common sense. If your team has, or your franchise has, more Super Bowls or more championships than another team, then chances are, this just might be a topic that you just might have to think about. You're probably a better team or better franchise. And if you take championships and Super Bowls out of the equation because neither team has won one, and you look at division championships, you look at overall records, you look at playoff appearances, conference championships, overall win-loss record that your team has had, then, you might come up with a strategy to see whose franchise or team is better. But it's not what this video is all about. This video is about what matters and what's relevant. Now, every championship any football team has won matters. Whether it's Arena League, whether it's NFL Europe, Canadian Football League, NFL, AFL, AAFC. If I'm missing one, I apologize. But any championship your team has won matters. But it might not be relevant. And here's why. The Philadelphia Eagles have 4 NFL championships. They claim another one, but we're just discussing the ones won by the Philadelphia Eagles. 3 of which were won in the 40s and the 60s. Right? Those championships are not relevant to me because I wasn't around to see them. They are relevant to other people, possibly, because they were around to see it. And the players that played in those games, your Tommy McDonald's, your Steve Van Buren's, your Norm Van Brocklin's, your Chuck Bednarik's, your Tommy McDonald's, all of those players played in those games. And those games matter to them, and they matter to the fans that watch those games. Super Bowl 52 is a championship that I hold in higher regard, not only because I was around to see it, and I was around to enjoy it, but also because the Super Bowl is now considered the crowning achievement of the National Football League. Okay? Even though those championships before mattered to me, my opinion, I know that people feel differently for whatever reason. And, if you feel differently, that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. This is not PR knows all and he says all and his opinions are the only ones that matter. It's partially true. But in my personal opinion, not all the Super Bowls are relevant. And the reason why not all the Super Bowls are relevant is because, we go through, way back when you didn't have the salary cap. Way back when you didn't have the same pass interference or defensive holding and illegal contact rules. You didn't have instant replay. You didn't have as many teams. So while they all matter, while of course all 52 Super Bowls matter, they're not all relevant. Now the point where I decide relevance, the point where relevance stops is 1996. And the reason why, the 1996 NFL season, the reason why it stops there was because 1996 was the first season, was the rookie season of the longest tenured NFL player, which happens to be Adam Vinatieri. So that Packers-Patriots Super Bowl, which Adam Vinatieri played in, is the last relevant Super Bowl, Super Bowl 31. And it's really weird because Adam Vinatieri isn't even on the Patriots anymore. He's now on the Indianapolis Colts. So you even have players who no longer play for teams. That long ago was 23 years ago. And then when Adam Vinatieri retires, you have Tom Brady. Then the last relevant Super Bowl at that point will be the Super Bowl between the Giants and the Ravens. And when Tom Brady retires, and if Terrell Suggs is still in the league, then the last relevant Super Bowl is the one played between the Patriots and the Panthers. And when he retires, and if Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, and Phillip Rivers are still in the league, then the 2004 Super Bowl between the Eagles and the Patriots, and the one that the Patriots won to encapsulate their dynasty, to make it more concrete, that Super Bowl 39 will be the last relevant Super Bowl. And now I know that is going to be a largely unpopular opinion, because a lot of people will think, oh, then you just don't think that any of those other Super Bowls matter because they were won so long ago. And you don't think they hold any meaning. No, that's not even close to being true. You have the 1960s, Vince Lombardi and Bart Starr winning the first two Super Bowls. You have the Pittsburgh Steelers dynasty of the 70s. You have the perfect season by the Miami Dolphins in 1972. You have the 1970s when the Dallas Cowboys were called America's team. You have the 80s where the 49ers won 4 Super Bowls. Dwight Clark, the catch, where the Dallas Cowboys, mini dynasty ended, where they won, I think they went to the NFC Championship game every year in the 70s, I believe, or somewhere close to that. And the 49ers dynasty began. Jim Plunkett winning 2 Super Bowls with the Raiders, and he was a backup quarterback. To the 90s, where John Elway and the Broncos finally won 2 Super Bowls. And the Dallas Cowboys had their own dynasty with 2 different head coaches. You can't forget history like that, because history will always be there. History can never be erased. No matter what, history can never be erased. But their relevance does lose luster. Those rings will never, ever lose their luster. But the relevance of them to the league today can. So don't get this twisted. If you have won Super Bowls before then or championships before then, they matter. But they're not always relevant. And that's my honest to God opinion. Someone else might have a different opinion. But that's all I have. It's PR. Peace. I'm out. See ya.